starts right now.
Coming up on Valley News Live at 10, the search for a missing hunter and a family desperately trying to find their loved one. North Dakota hospitals making changes as the counties are now at high risk level for COVID-19. Plus, the U.S. Attorney General tonight encouraging attorneys to pursue allegations of election fraud. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Grand Forks and Grand Forks County, where work is underway on a mask mandate with a penalty for violators. I just got off the phone with Dr. Joel Walls, who is the city and county health officer. He confirmed to Valley News Live that such a move could be proposed in the next few days. He added that it wouldn't be up to him to decide on the penalty, but that it was being discussed. The mayor of Grand Forks has issued an emergency order modifying hours of bars and restaurants, and the governor of North Dakota continues to urge people across the state to use masks as a way to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The search continues tonight for a hunter. It's more than 36 hours after he went missing in Becker County. 58-year-old Paul Sandstrom went missing yesterday after being dropped off at a deer blind. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly spoke with the family, tirelessly searching in this exclusive story.
Family members, along with dozens of law enforcement, fire crews, and search and rescue, are trying to find 58-year-old Paul Sandstrom.
We've been driving all over the woods in trucks and side-by-sides and walking, and we've been doing sweeps through the woods on both sides of the highway.
Sandstrom went missing Sunday near Bad Medicine Lake off of Highway 113, where he has a deer blind. But when family went to pick him up for a planned lunch outing, he was gone.
He's hunted this area. Where his stand is, he's been there for 20 plus years, 20, 30 years. So to hear that he's lost, something's wrong.
Officials say he was last seen wearing orange and black hunting gear, saying he had food and survival equipment.
I mean, we're trying to stay optimistic, but as far as everything goes, it doesn't add up to what happens.
Search crews have been conducting grid searches. The only lead they have had so far is hunters in the area saying they may have seen him walking.
It's unnerving and disheartening at this point. And especially with the temperatures dropping today, it's saddening.
In addition to ground search, authorities plan to take to the air Tuesday. They say they're exhausting all resources until he is found.
All we can do is search.
In Becker County, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
People in the area are being asked to keep an eye out for Sandstrom. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Becker County Sheriff's Office. Hospitals in North Dakota are full, and the lack of healthcare workers has the healthcare system making some changes. Between a growing number of COVID cases and a much larger percentage of non-coronavirus patients, hospitals will be stopping elective surgeries and moving nurses to facilities where they are most needed.
So in North Dakota, we had our first case on March 11th. It took us over 200 days, over 7 months, to October 19th to get to 5,000 active cases. October 19th seems like just a few weeks ago. It was under 3 weeks ago. And now, today, we've crossed over this weekend 10,000 cases. So it took us 7 months to get to 5,000, and it took us 3 weeks to get over 10,000.
The state has agreed to let people working in healthcare with COVID-19 who are asymptomatic to continue working in COVID units. The governor also moved all counties to the state today to the high-risk level. Meanwhile, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is expected to enact more lockdown measures tomorrow. We'll be streaming his press conference, which is scheduled to be live at 2 p.m. online and on KVLY. Today, the governor announced that 11 testing sites were opening across Minnesota. The state already operating a saliva testing site in Minnesota, open to both Minnesota and North Dakota residents. Many Minnesota counties in our area are also participating in the state's at-home saliva testing program. You can find information about that on our website at valleynewslive.com. Just click on this story. Students in West Fargo will soon be breathing easier as the district moves to install nearly $200,000 worth of air purifying systems in the elementary schools before the end of the year. The ionized purifiers aim to eliminate odors, viruses, and other bacteria. The district says they will not be able to measure the amount of COVID-19 that's pulled out of the air, rather the presence of the ions and their impact on staff and student attendance.
What is the rate of illness that we're seeing amongst staff and students? Do we see a decline in the number of students who are going home, whether it is to be tested for COVID or just because they're feeling ill with the flu?
Both Moorhead and Fargo public schools are also in the process of installing similar purifying systems, as well as the University of North Dakota. President Trump has not conceded the election and is pursuing legal action. The North Dakota Republican Party saying it's supporting the National Committee's lawsuits over election security. Chairman Rick Berg says the president has the right to fully challenge any irregularities that occurred in the processing of ballots.
Anything that takes 5 days to count the votes, we'll let the legal process work itself out.
I hope we can get to a point where all Americans can, at least most Americans, can feel comfortable with the outcome, whether they like it or not, and then that we can, get together and move forward.
In response, the state Democratic NPL party says if there is evidence presented to the court, they trust that the judicial process will work the way it's intended to work. This all comes as the Attorney General for the United States, William Barr, tonight says he's allowing federal prosecutors to pursue allegations of what he calls vote tabulation irregularities. Natalie Brand has the very latest from Wilmington, Delaware.
Even as Joe Biden was taking his first steps as the country's president-elect, President Trump and his allies continue to refuse to concede defeat.
This election is not over. Far from it. We have only begun the process of obtaining an accurate, honest vote count.
The president's legal team continues to launch challenges in several battleground states, including Pennsylvania. They say they've received numerous reports of mishandled ballots and other irregularities.
We're going to pursue all of this. Is it going to be enough? No, it's going to take time. Is it going to be enough? We don't know.
To date, only a few Republican senators have acknowledged Biden's victory. On Monday, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell expressed support for the president's effort to challenge the election results.
President Trump is 100% within his rights to look into allegations of irregularities and weigh his legal options.
Later in the day, Senate Majority Leader McConnell posed for photos with the 4 Republicans who were just elected to the Senate. The Justice Department has authorized federal prosecutors to start looking into allegations of voter fraud. But Attorney General William Barr said those investigations should not be seen as a sign the DOJ thinks the election was compromised.
President-elect Biden spent Monday here in Delaware in virtual meetings with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris and their newly formed coronavirus task force.
There's a need for bold action to fight this pandemic. We're still facing a very dark winter.
Former Republican Delaware Congressman Tom Evans said Biden won his support.
I think it's time for Mr. Trump to say congratulations to Joe Biden. I think he can help unite this country, and that's one of the reasons I voted for him.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who spoke to the president-elect by phone Monday, says he's ready to work with Biden to end the pandemic and find solutions to other world problems. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
And nearly a week since Election Day, and the results of 2 Georgia Senate races still haven't been called. Both Republican candidates in those races are calling for the Secretary of State to resign. The Secretary of State, who's also a Republican, is pushing back, defending the voting process in Georgia, saying he won't be resigning. CNN has projected the race will head to a runoff. Still ahead on Valley News Live at 10, in many states, nurse practitioners can prescribe medicine independently without the oversight of a doctor. But tonight, our investigative team finds out their schooling may not be up to par. But first, a cooler week is in store with more snow possibly on the way for some of us. Summer has your full forecast right after this break.
You're watching Valley News Live on TV, online, and on the go.